The notification came through during my daughter's piano recital. I should have ignored it. Should have kept my phone in my pocket and watched Emma fumble through Beethoven's Für Elise like any decent father would. But the message preview caught my eye. Last night was incredible. When can we? The sender's name made my blood run cold. Tyler Brennan. My wife's personal trainer. I'm getting ahead of myself. My name is Daniel Foster. I'm 42 years old, and until that Tuesday evening in March, I thought I had it all figured out. 15 years married to Rebecca, 2 kids, Emma, 12, and Josh, 9, a house in the suburbs of Charlotte, North Carolina, and a comfortable life built on what I believed was mutual respect and love. I was wrong. The recital ended. I clapped mechanically, my mind elsewhere as Emma took her bow. Rebecca squeezed my hand, her touch suddenly foreign, and whispered, "She did great, didn't she?" I nodded, unable to look at her. The phone in my pocket felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. We drove home in separate cars. She'd come straight from the gym, still in her workout clothes. That detail would matter later. Everything would matter later. I helped Josh with his homework while Rebecca showered, the sound of running water upstairs mixing with my son's questions about fractions. I couldn't focus. The numbers on the page blurred. After the kids went to bed, I finally opened the message fully. Tyler Brennan had sent it to our shared family iPad, not Rebecca's phone. A mistake that would cost them everything. The message was explicit without being graphic, but the meaning was crystal clear. There were others too, scrolling back weeks. Plans to meet at his apartment. Complaints about me. How I worked too much. How I didn't understand her anymore. How she felt alive again. I sat in my home office, the iPad trembling in my hands, reading through months of betrayal. They'd been careful, mostly, meeting during her extended training sessions on Tuesday and Thursday mornings after the kids went to school. Sometimes during my business trips. The messages painted a picture I didn't want to see. My wife of 15 years, the mother of my children, living a double life. The worst part? How happy she sounded in these messages. How free. I heard her footsteps on the stairs. "Danny, you coming to bed?" Danny. She hadn't called me that in years. "In a minute," I called back, my voice surprisingly steady. I didn't go to bed. Instead, I spent the next 4 hours documenting everything. Screenshots, saved to 3 different cloud accounts. I noted dates, times, cross-referenced them with my calendar. March 7th. She said she had a dental appointment. The messages showed she was at Tyler's apartment from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. February 14th, Valentine's Day. She'd given me a card about eternal love while texting Tyler about meeting him the next morning. The rage came in waves, but I forced it down. I'm a project manager for a construction firm. I know how to stay calm under pressure, how to plan, how to execute. This would be no different. At 3 a.m., I finally climbed into bed beside her. She stirred, reaching for me in her sleep. I moved away. The next morning, I acted normal. Made coffee, got the kids ready for school, kissed Rebecca goodbye as she headed to the gym. As her car pulled out of the driveway, I called my office and took a personal day. Then I called my best friend, Patrick Walsh. Patrick answered on the second ring. "Danny, what's wrong?" "I need the name of that attorney you used. The divorce one." Silence. Then, "What happened?" "Rebecca's having an affair. I have proof. I need to know my options before I do anything." Patrick gave me a name. Jennifer Cole, a family law attorney with a reputation for being thorough and aggressive when needed. I called her office immediately. Her secretary tried to schedule me for next week, but something in my voice must have conveyed urgency. She put me on hold, then came back. Ms. Cole can see you at 2 o'clock today. Can you make that? I could. Jennifer Cole's office was downtown, 20th floor of a glass building overlooking the city. She was younger than I expected, maybe late 30s, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. I showed her the iPad, walked her through what I'd found. She took notes, asked questions. Have you confronted her? No? Good, don't, not yet. She leaned back in her chair. North Carolina is one of the few states that still recognizes alienation of affection claims. You can sue the third party, Tyler Brennan, for damages. I can sue him? For breaking up your marriage, yes, if you want to go that route. But first, let's talk about the divorce itself. North Carolina requires a year of separation before you can file. However, we can use this time strategically. Do you want to try to save the marriage? I didn't hesitate. No. She nodded, unsurprised. Then here's what we're going to do. Over the next hour, Jennifer laid out a plan. Document everything. Open a separate bank account. Get copies of all financial records. Don't move out of the house. That could hurt me in custody discussions. And most importantly, don't let Rebecca know I knew. Not yet. The element of surprise is your biggest advantage right now, Jennifer explained. Use it wisely. I left her office with a clarity I hadn't felt in days. The hurt was still there, raw and deep, but now I had a direction, a purpose. I went home before the kids got back from school and started phase 1. The pizza arrived at 6:47 p.m., right on schedule according to the tracker. I'd ordered it through the app while Rebecca was upstairs changing after her training session. The Tuesday routine I now understood had nothing to do with fitness. Game night. Our standing tradition for the past 3 years. Every other Tuesday, just the two of us, once the kids were at her mother's. Board games, pizza, a couple of beers. I used to look forward to it. I paid the delivery guy in cash, carried the boxes to the kitchen, and opened my phone to rate the driver. 5 stars. Good service. That's when I saw it. The order history button sat there at the bottom of the screen. Innocuous. I'd never clicked it before. Never had a reason to. But something. Maybe the same instinct that made me document everything over the past week made me tap it now. March 12th. Large pepperoni, extra cheese. Delivered to 2847 Riverside Court, Unit B. My card. I stared at the address. Didn't recognize it. The date, though, that was last Tuesday. The Tuesday Rebecca had her evening session with Tyler. The Tuesday she'd texted me she was grabbing a salad after the gym. My hands felt steady as I clicked into the order details. There were delivery instructions. Buzz Unit B, leave at door if no answer. And a note to the restaurant. Extra toppings for 2, thanks. The tip. $15. Left for a delivery to someone else's apartment. I heard the shower shut off upstairs. Rebecca would be down in 10 minutes, hair still damp, wearing those yoga pants she knew I liked. Smiling. Acting normal. I set my phone face down on the counter and opened the pizza boxes. The smell of pepperoni as melted cheese filled the kitchen. My stomach turned. Perfect timing. Rebecca appeared in the doorway, right on schedule. Her hair was wrapped in a towel. I'm starving. Long session today? I grabbed plates from the cabinet. Tyler really pushed me. My legs are going to be sore tomorrow. She slid onto her usual stool at the kitchen island. Is that the supreme? Half supreme, half pepperoni. Like always. I set a plate in front of her, then took the stool beside her. The phone sat between us, screen still dark. She took a bite, made that satisfied sound she always made with the first slice. So good. Way better than that salad I had last week. I picked up my phone. "What do you want to play tonight?" she asked. "I'm thinking Scrabble. I've been practicing." I pulled up the order history, found the March 12th delivery, and set the phone on the counter between us, screen facing her. "Actually," I said, "I want to talk about this." She glanced down, kept chewing. Then her jaw slowed. Stopped. "What?" She swallowed. "What is that?" "Pizza order. From last Tuesday. Your card." I took a bite of my own slice, kept my voice level. "Delivered to Riverside Court, Unit B." The color drained from her face. "I don't." "Extra toppings for 2. I wiped sauce from my thumb with a napkin. "That's a nice touch. Very considerate, making sure Tyler's pizza had everything he liked." She set down her slice. "Danny, don't." The word came out harder than I intended. "I know about Tyler. I know about all of it." Silence. The refrigerator hummed. Outside, someone's dog barked. "How long?" Her voice was barely a whisper. "How long have I known? Or how long have you been lying?" I scrolled through the order history. "Because I've got pizza deliveries here going back to January, always to Unit B, always on your training days." It wasn't supposed to." She pressed her hands to her face. "Wasn't supposed to what? Last this long? Mean anything?" I set the phone down. "I've seen the messages, Rebecca. All of them. The cloud backup is a beautiful thing." Her hands dropped. "You went through my phone? You ordered pizza to your lover's apartment on my credit card." I met her eyes. "Let's not talk about boundaries." She stood up, started pacing. "It just happened. We didn't plan it. It was just what? Just convenient? Just exciting?" I stayed seated, kept eating my pizza. The normalcy of it felt surreal. "Just easier than working on our marriage?" "You're never here." The words burst out of her. "You're always working. Always on those business trips. Always." "I was in Raleigh," I cut her off. "February 14th through 16th. Remember? You sent me that text about missing me, hoping I'd be home soon. Sweet message. Really sold it." She went still. "Tyler sent you a photo that same night. Him cooking dinner. Your favorite wine on the counter. You told him you'd never felt so seen." I took another bite. Chewed. Swallowed. "So don't tell me this is about me working too much." "What do you want me to say?" Her voice cracked. "Nothing." I wiped my hands on the napkin. "I don't want you to say anything. I want you to pack a bag and leave." "Danny, please." "My attorney says I shouldn't move out. Custody implications. So you need to go." I stood up, started clearing the plates. "You can stay with Tyler. I'm sure Unit B has room." She grabbed my arm. "We can fix this. We can go to counseling. We can—" "You ordered him pizza." I pulled free. "You used our money, our card to feed him. You left notes making sure he got extra toppings." I dumped the plates in the sink. "And then you came home and kissed me goodnight." Tears streamed down her face. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." "Yeah." I turned on the faucet, started rinsing. "Me too." She stood there for another minute, crying. Then she left. I heard her footsteps on the stairs, heard the bedroom door close. I finished the dishes, dried them, put them away. Then I picked up my phone and opened the pizza app again. 2847 Riverside Court, Unit B. The address auto-filled from the order history. I added an order. Large supreme. Then another. Large pepperoni. Then another. And another. 20 pizzas total. Every specialty on the menu. Delivery instructions. Surprise party, ring bell loud. Special notes to the restaurant. Cheater special, guy stole someone's wife, figured he earned some pizza. I used Rebecca's card, the one she'd used for all those cozy dinners with Tyler, the one that was still linked to my account because we'd never separated our finances. Total, $387.42. I scheduled the delivery for 8 p.m., peak dinner hour, maximum chaos. Then I opened the review section for the pizza place. 5 stars. Great service. And in the comments, love this place. Been ordering here for months during my wife's affair with her trainer. They always get the extra toppings for 2, right? Highly recommend for anyone feeding their spouse's lover at 2847 Riverside Court, Unit B. Ask for Tyler. I posted it, watched it go live. The bedroom door opened upstairs. Rebecca's footsteps, slower now. She appeared with a duffel bag, eyes red and swollen. I'll come back for the rest tomorrow, she said. Take your time. I stayed at the sink. But maybe avoid Riverside Court tonight. Traffic's going to be bad around 8. She frowned. What? Nothing. Drive safe. She hesitated, like she wanted to say something else. Then she left. The front door clicked shut. Her car started in the driveway, pulled away. I sat back down at the kitchen island. The pizza had gone cold. I ate another slice anyway, watching the clock on my phone. 7:52 p.m. My phone buzzed. A text from a number I didn't recognize. Is this Daniel Foster? I didn't answer. Another buzz. This is Tyler. We need to talk. I blocked the number. 7:58 p.m. The pizza tracker showed all 20 orders out for delivery. 4 different drivers, all converging on Unit B, 8:03 p.m. My phone rang. Rebecca. I let it go to voicemail. 8:07 p.m. Another call. Another voicemail. 8:15 p.m. A text from Rebecca. What did you do? I replied, ordered pizza, extra toppings, for 2. Well, for 20. Hope Tyler's hungry. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. You're insane. I set the phone down. Finished my beer. Started cleaning up the rest of the kitchen. Jennifer Cole had told me not to do anything stupid, to stay calm, stay strategic, stay focused on the long game, but she'd also said to document everything. And sometimes documentation required a little creativity. 20 pizzas worth of creativity. My phone kept buzzing. Calls, texts, angry messages. I ignored them all. Instead, I pulled up the divorce paperwork Jennifer had prepared, the documents I'd signed that morning. Everything ready to file. Just waiting for the right moment. I'd give Rebecca until morning to cool down. Then we'd have the real conversation. The one about lawyers and separation and who gets what. But tonight? Tonight I had pizza. Cold, satisfying, perfectly justified pizza. And somewhere across town, Tyler had 20 boxes of his own to deal with. The review posted at 9:47 p.m. By 10:15, my phone started buzzing. Patrick's name lit up the screen. I let it ring through to voicemail, then watched as he immediately called back. On the 3rd attempt, I answered. What the hell did you do? His voice carried equal parts concern and disbelief. You saw it. Half of Charlotte saw it. Daniel, that review, it's got Tyler's address, his full name, everything. People are commenting. Someone already posted a screenshot to one of those cheating spouse forums. I sat in my home office, the pizza box still open on my desk, 2 slices gone cold. Good. Good? Man, you need to think about this. Rebecca could use this in court. Make you look unstable, vindictive. I documented everything first. Jennifer has copies of all the messages, the credit card statements, the pizza orders, all time-stamped before I did anything. Silence on the other end. Then, you already planned this. I planned for possibilities. I took a bite of cold pizza, chewed mechanically. The review is factual. I ordered pizza from Mario's. The service was excellent. The delivery driver was professional. I simply shared my experience and mentioned an interesting pattern I noticed in my credit card history. You called it the cheater's special. That's descriptive, not defamatory. I'm a paying customer leaving honest feedback. Patrick exhaled slowly. Jennifer know about this? Not yet. She's going to kill you. She'll manage. I ended the call and opened my laptop. The review had 63 comments already. Most expressed outrage on my behalf, though a few questioned whether public shaming was appropriate. Someone had already identified Tyler's gym, Elite Fitness on Providence Road. Another commenter claimed to be a member there and promised to cancel their membership in solidarity. I felt nothing looking at it. No satisfaction, no regret. Just the same cold clarity that had settled over me since Emma's recital. My phone buzzed again. Rebecca's number. I declined the call. She tried 3 more times over the next 10 minutes, each attempt ignored. Then a text arrived. We need to talk. This is insane. I typed back, through attorneys only. You have until Sunday to find somewhere else to stay. You can't kick me out of my own house. Community property. I can ask you to leave during separation. Or I can file a restraining order based on emotional distress and document your refusal to provide space for cooling off. Your choice. Jennifer had outlined this option during our consultation. North Carolina didn't require physical separation for divorce, but establishing separate residences strengthened the case and demonstrated serious intent. My phone rang immediately. Rebecca again. I powered it down completely. The next morning, I woke Emma and Josh at 7 as usual. Made pancakes, packed lunches, signed Josh's permission slip for the field trip to the Science Museum. Rebecca's bedroom door stayed closed. Where's Mom? Emma asked, syrup pooling around her fork. Sleeping in. She had a late night. Is she sick? Something like that. I drove them to school, watched Emma disappear into the middle school entrance while Josh raced toward the elementary playground. Normal Wednesday morning, except nothing was normal anymore. My phone powered back on during the drive to work. 17 missed calls. 12 from Rebecca, 3 from numbers I didn't recognize, 2 from Patrick, the last one from Jennifer Cole's office. I called her back from my truck in the parking lot. Mr. Foster. Her voice was crisp, professional, and notably lacking warmth. I saw your review. I'm a consumer sharing feedback. You're a divorce client who just publicly accused his wife's alleged affair partner by name and address of sleeping with a married woman, using a platform that now has over 200 comments and has been shared across multiple social media sites. Allegedly is the key word. I made no accusations. I simply noted an interesting pattern in my credit card usage. The 20 pizzas you ordered to his apartment at 11 p.m. are going to be harder to explain as reasonable behavior. I was hungry and generous. She didn't laugh. Daniel, I understand you're angry. You have every right to be. But this kind of public spectacle can hurt your case. It makes you look impulsive, vindictive. A judge evaluating custody will consider parental judgment, and revenge pranks don't demonstrate sound decision-making. I watched a crew of construction workers unload lumber from a flatbed across the parking lot. My team, my project. Everything proceeding according to schedule while my personal life collapsed. What's done is done, I said. Can they use it against me? Possibly. Rebecca's attorney will certainly try. They'll paint you as unstable, potentially dangerous. The public nature of it, the harassment aspect. It's not good, Daniel. But the evidence of the affair still stands. Yes, the affair is documented, but you've given them ammunition to shift focus from her behavior to yours. Papers rustled on her end. I need you to take down that review, today. No. Daniel, the review stays up. It's factual. It's my experience as a customer. If Tyler Brennan has a problem with it, he can sue me for defamation, and then we'll have discovery where I get to present all those messages as evidence in open court. More silence. Then, you've thought this through. I have. And if Rebecca uses this to argue you're unfit for custody? That stopped me. I hadn't considered that angle fully. Emma and Josh, caught in the middle of this, used as leverage. She won't, I said, though my certainty wavered. She knows I documented everything first. She knows what I have on her. People do desperate things when cornered. Jennifer's tone softened slightly. I'm not saying take it down to protect her. I'm saying consider your children. This is public, permanent. Their friends' parents will see it. Their teachers. This becomes part of their story now, too. I closed my eyes. Emma at her piano recital, focused and serious. Josh explaining fractions at the kitchen table, tongue between his teeth in concentration. Neither of them asked for this. I'll think about it, I said. Think fast. I'm expecting Rebecca's attorney to file a motion by end of week, and this review will be Exhibit A in whatever they're planning. After we hung up, I sat in my truck for another 20 minutes. The review had 247 comments now. Someone had created a hashtag, Cheater Special. A local news blog had picked up the story, though they'd redacted Tyler's address and last name. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Mr. Foster? A man's voice, tight with controlled anger. This is Tyler Brennan. I should have hung up. Should have followed Jennifer's advice about all communication going through attorneys. But curiosity won. Yes? You need to take down that review, right now. Why would I do that? Because it's slander. Because you've posted my personal information online. Because I've got 20 goddamn pizzas sitting in my hallway that I didn't order. And my landlord is threatening to evict me for the disturbance. Sounds like a rough night. This isn't funny. You're harassing me. I can press charges. For what? I left a review of a pizza place. I ordered food. Both legal activities. You know exactly what you're doing. His voice dropped lower, more dangerous. Rebecca told me about you. Said you were controlling, obsessive. I didn't believe her. Now I see she was right. That sparked something hot in my chest. She told you I was controlling? While she was lying to me about where she was twice a week? While she was using our credit card to buy you dinner? Our relationship is none of your business. It became my business when she was still wearing my ring. I gripped the steering wheel. You want to talk about harassment? Let's talk about alienation of affection. North Carolina still recognizes it. I can sue you for destroying my marriage. Jennifer Cole is already drawing up the paperwork. You can't prove. I have every message, every Tuesday and Thursday for 6 months. The hotel receipts on her card, the pizza orders, all time-stamped, all documented. So here's what's going to happen, Tyler. You're going to hang up. You're going to stay away from my wife. And you're going to pray I decide the public humiliation is enough and don't take you to court for everything you're worth. I ended the call before he could respond. My hands were shaking. The hot anger faded quickly, replaced by that familiar cold clarity. I'd just threatened legal action without confirming with Jennifer first. Made promises I might not be able to keep. Let emotion override strategy. I pulled up the review on my phone. 289 comments now. Someone had posted Tyler's gym schedule. Another person claimed to have seen him and Rebecca together at a coffee shop in South Park. Jennifer was right. This was spiraling beyond my control, but taking it down felt like surrender, like letting them win. I sat in that parking lot for another 10 minutes, thumb hovering over the delete button, unable to press it. The phone rang again at 11 p.m. Tyler's number. I let it go to voicemail. Rebecca had been texting me every 20 minutes since she left. I'd blocked her number after the 15th message. She'd switched to email. Those went straight to a folder I'd set up specifically for documentation. Emma knocked on my office door. "Dad, is Mom coming back?" I saved the spreadsheet I'd been working on, a timeline of every pizza order Rebecca had charged to our joint account over the past 6 months. 17 deliveries to Tyler's address. The pattern was unmistakable. Every Tuesday and Thursday, the same nights she claimed to have late training sessions. "Come in, sweetheart." She stood in the doorway wearing her soccer pajamas, the ones Rebecca had bought her last Christmas. Madison's mom texted my phone. She said there's something online about our family. My stomach dropped. "What did you tell her?" I didn't answer yet. Emma twisted the doorknob back and forth. "Is it about you and Mom?" I'd prepared for this conversation with Jennifer. Keep it age appropriate. Don't disparage their mother. Maintain stability. The script felt hollow now. "Your mom and I are having some grown-up problems. We're going to need some time apart to figure things out." "Because she has a boyfriend?" The words hit like a fist. "How did you—" "I heard you on the phone yesterday. You said her trainer's name." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "Is that why you ordered all those pizzas?" Madison's mom showed her the review. I stood up and pulled her into a hug. She was shaking. "I'm sorry you had to find out this way. I'm sorry about all of it. Everyone at school is going to know." Her voice was muffled against my shirt. "They're going to talk about us." "I know. I made a mistake posting that review." She pulled back. "Are you going to delete it?" "I don't know yet." The honest answer? "My lawyer says it might make things worse if I do it now." "Worse than everyone knowing our business?" Emma wiped her eyes. "Josh is going to get destroyed when the boys in his class find out. You know how mean they are." She was right. I'd been so focused on hurting Rebecca and Tyler that I hadn't fully processed what this would do to my kids. The abstract concept of protecting them had collided with the reality of middle school social dynamics. "Go back to bed. We'll talk more in the morning." After she left, I pulled up the review. 247 comments now. Someone had created a Reddit thread. A local news blog had picked it up. "Portland pizza drama goes viral." They'd blurred Tyler's address but included screenshots of my review in several comments. My phone buzzed. "Patrick." "Tell me you've seen the Channel 6 website," he said. "I'm looking at it now. They're calling it the Cheater Special Scandal." "Daniel, this is out of control. Have you talked to Jennifer?" "She left me 3 voicemails today. I've been avoiding them." "Call her back. Tonight. This isn't just about your divorce anymore. Tyler could actually have a case for harassment or doxing or whatever they call it when you publish someone's address online." I scrolled through the comments on the news article. Most were supportive. Team Daniel, they called themselves. But others pointed out that I'd crossed a line. One commenter had looked up Oregon's harassment laws and posted a detailed analysis of how my actions might constitute unlawful dissemination of personal information. "I'll call her," I said. "Good. And Daniel, delete the review. Whatever satisfaction you got from it isn't worth what it's doing to Emma and Josh." He was right. I knew he was right. But the review had 847 upvotes on the pizza shop's page. It was the top-rated review, marked as helpful by hundreds of people. Deleting it felt like admitting defeat. After we hung up, I opened my email. Jennifer's latest message had arrived at 9:47 p.m. "Daniel, we need to talk immediately. Rebecca's attorney filed an emergency motion this afternoon seeking temporary custody modification based on your erratic and vindictive behavior that demonstrates poor judgment and potential harm to the minor children. They're citing the pizza incident and the public review as evidence of emotional instability. Hearing is scheduled for Monday at 2 p.m. Call me first thing tomorrow morning. This is serious. JC, Monday, 3 days away." I read the email twice, then checked the court filing sheet attached. Rebecca's attorney had included screenshots of my review, the Reddit thread, and the news article. They'd also attached affidavits, one from Rebecca describing how I'd screamed at her during the confrontation. I hadn't. And one from Tyler describing the threatening nature of the pizza delivery and how he'd had to call the police to deal with the chaos outside his apartment. The police report was attached too. Tyler had filed a formal complaint for harassment. No charges yet, but the officer had documented everything. 20 pizza boxes stacked in the hallway, delivery drivers arguing about payment, neighbors complaining about the disturbance. I'd created a paper trail of my own instability. The office felt too small suddenly. I walked downstairs to the kitchen and poured a glass of water. The pizza boxes from game night were still in the recycling bin. 2 nights ago. It felt like a month. My phone rang. "Jennifer, despite the late hour." "I assume you got my email," she said. "Just read it. Then you understand how bad this is. Rebecca's attorney is painting you as unhinged. They're arguing that your behavior shows you can't be trusted to make rational decisions about the children's welfare." "It was pizza, Jennifer. I didn't threaten anyone. You published a man's home address online and encouraged harassment. You used your wife's credit card without permission to charge nearly $400 in food as retaliation. You created a public spectacle that's now being covered by local media. How do you think that looks to a family court judge?" I set the glass down too hard. Water sloshed onto the counter. "She's been lying to me for months. She's been using our money to buy dinners for her affair partner. She destroyed our family. And you had the moral high ground until you decided to play vigilante." Jennifer's voice softened slightly. "Daniel, I know you're hurt. I know you're angry. But you handed Rebecca's attorney exactly what they needed to shift the narrative from her infidelity to your instability. So what do I do? First, delete the review tonight, right now, while we're on the phone. If I delete it, doesn't that look like I'm admitting it was wrong? It was wrong. And keeping it up makes you look vindictive and obsessed. Delete it, then send me a screenshot showing it's gone. I'll include that in our response to show you've taken corrective action." I pulled up the review on my laptop. 1,189 comments now. Someone had posted a photo of Tyler's apartment building with the caption, "Cheater Special Headquarters." What about the custody hearing? We're going to argue that you were acting out of temporary emotional distress upon discovering the affair, that you've recognized your error in judgment, and that you've taken immediate steps to correct it. We'll emphasize your 15 years of stable parenting, your involvement in the kids' lives, and the fact that Rebecca is the one who violated the marriage vows. Will that work? Honestly, I don't know. Judge Brennan. Wait, the judge's name is Brennan? Different Brennan. No relation. Judge Amy Brennan. She's fair, but she takes a dim view of parents who involve children in adult conflicts. The fact that this went viral and your daughter is already hearing about it at school is going to be a problem. My cursor hovered over the delete button. 1,500 people had read this review. It had spawned news articles and Reddit threads. It had exposed Tyler and Rebecca's affair to the entire Portland metro area. It was the most public, most visible thing I'd ever done. And it was destroying my custody case. I'm deleting it now, I said. Good. Send me the screenshot. Then I need you to write a statement, 2 or 3 paragraphs, expressing regret for your actions and explaining that you were acting out of shock and pain. We'll submit it with our response to the motion. A statement saying I was wrong. A statement saying you made a mistake in a moment of extreme emotional distress. There's a difference. I clicked delete. A pop-up appeared. Are you sure you want to remove this review? This action cannot be undone. Yes, I was sure. The review disappeared. My public revenge erased in a single click. Screenshot sent, I said. I'll draft the response tonight. We'll file it tomorrow. In the meantime, no more contact with Tyler. No more social media posts. No more public statements of any kind. Can you do that? Yes. And Daniel, talk to your kids. Really talk to them. Because on Monday, the judge is going to ask them how they're doing, and their answers are going to matter more than anything either attorney says. After we hung up, I sat in the dark kitchen for a long time. Upstairs, I could hear Emma moving around in her room. Still awake at midnight, probably reading the things her classmates were posting about our family. I'd wanted to hurt Rebecca and Tyler. Mission accomplished. But I'd hurt my kids in the process, and now I might lose them because of it. The pizza boxes stared at me from the recycling bin. Evidence of the night everything changed. Evidence of my own worst impulses. I pulled out my phone and started typing the statement Jennifer had requested. I deeply regret my actions regarding the public review and pizza delivery incident. The words felt like surrender. But maybe that's what protecting my kids required. The weekend stretched out like a prison sentence. I stayed at Patrick's house Friday and Saturday night, sleeping on his guest room bed and staring at the ceiling while my kids were with my wife, my soon-to-be ex-wife, at a hotel somewhere. Jennifer had arranged temporary custody. Rebecca would have them Friday through Sunday. I'd get them Sunday evening through Thursday, then we'd alternate until the hearing. Fair under the circumstances, Jennifer had said. Shows the judge you're being reasonable. Reasonable. Right. Patrick tried to help. He made dinner Saturday night, grilled chicken and vegetables, and we watched a basketball game neither of us cared about. His wife Amy brought me coffee Sunday morning and didn't ask questions. Their kids, both in college now, called to say hi and pretended this was a normal visit. I checked my phone every 10 minutes. No messages from Rebecca. Nothing from the kids. Jennifer had advised against contacting them directly. Let her have her time, it'll look better. But not knowing was worse than anything. Sunday at 5:30, my phone finally buzzed. Rebecca. Dropping them at the house at 6. I'll wait in the car. I drove home, got there at 5:45. The house felt different. Empty. I'd only been gone 2 nights, but everything looked staged, like a model home. I turned on lights, checked that their rooms were clean, put out snacks in the kitchen. Rebecca's SUV pulled up at exactly 6 o'clock. The passenger door opened and Josh climbed out, backpack over one shoulder. Emma followed, moving slower. Neither of them looked at the car as they walked to the front door. I opened it before they could knock. "Hey, guys." "Hi, Dad." Josh pushed past me, heading straight for the stairs. Emma stopped in the doorway. "Mom wants to talk to you." "I'll be right there." She went inside. I walked down the driveway to the SUV. Rebecca had the window down, sunglasses on even though the sun was setting. "They okay?" I asked. "They're confused, upset." She kept her hands on the steering wheel. "Emma asked me if you hate me." "What did you tell her?" "That adults have complicated feelings." She turned toward me, and I could see the edge of her eyes above the sunglasses. Red-rimmed. "That we both love them, and this isn't their fault." "It's not." "The hearing's tomorrow at 9, she said. My attorney filed an amended motion. "We're asking for primary custody with supervised visitation for you until the court-ordered anger management is complete." The words hit like a fist to the stomach. Supervised visitation? You publicly posted another man's address, Daniel. You ordered 20 pizzas to harass him. You wrote a review that's been shared thousands of times. The police complaint is still active. She adjusted her sunglasses. My attorney says we have a strong case that you're unstable. I deleted the review. I wrote the statement. After the damage was done. She put the car in reverse. I'll see you in court. She backed out of the driveway and drove away. Inside, Josh was already in his room with the door closed. I found Emma in the kitchen, pouring a glass of water. How was the weekend? Fine. She didn't look at me. We stayed at the Marriott downtown, ordered room service. That sounds nice. Mom cried a lot. Emma set down the glass. She kept saying she was sorry, that she made a mistake, that she never wanted to hurt us. I leaned against the counter. She tell you anything else? That you're both getting divorced, that we'll have 2 houses soon. Emma finally looked at me. Is it true you wrote something online about Mom and her trainer? There it was. Yes. Madison's mom showed her. Madison showed me. Her voice stayed level, controlled. 12 years old and already better at managing her emotions than I was. Everyone at school is going to know. I'm sorry, Emma. I was angry, and I made a bad choice. Mom made a bad choice, too. She picked up her glass. But she didn't put it on the internet. She walked past me toward the stairs. I heard her bedroom door close, soft but final. Monday morning arrived too fast. I put on my best suit, navy blue, the one I wore to client presentations, and a red tie Jennifer had suggested. Conservative, professional, stable, she'd said. You're the responsible parent. I dropped the kids at school early. Emma got out without saying goodbye. Josh gave me a quick hug and ran to meet his friends. Jennifer's office was downtown, same glass building as before. I arrived at 8:15. She was waiting in the conference room with a folder of documents. Rebecca's attorney sent over their evidence packet this morning. She slid it across the table. Take a look. Inside were printouts of my review, screenshots showing the share count and comments, a statement from Tyler about the pizza delivery, and photos of the boxes stacked outside his apartment door. Someone had taken pictures of the cheater special receipt taped to one of them. There was also a psychological evaluation request. They want me to see a shrink? Standard procedure when someone claims instability. Jennifer closed the folder. If the judge orders it, you'll have 3 sessions with a court-appointed psychologist. They'll file a report before the final custody hearing. And if I refuse? You won't refuse. It'll look worse. She checked her watch. We need to go. Courthouse is 10 minutes away. The family court building was older than Jennifer's office tower, brick and limestone with marble floors that echoed when you walked. We went through security, took an elevator to the 3rd floor, and found courtroom 3C. Rebecca was already there with her attorney, a woman in her 50s wearing a gray pantsuit and severe glasses. They sat on the left side of the gallery. Rebecca had dressed carefully, too. Dark blue dress, minimal jewelry, hair pulled back. She looked like someone's mother, which she was. Jennifer and I took the right side. We didn't speak. At exactly 9 o'clock, the bailiff called us to order. All rise for the Honorable Judge Patricia Brennan. The judge was younger than I expected, maybe early 50s, with short blonde hair and sharp eyes. She settled behind the bench and opened a file. Case number 24-CV-8847, Foster versus Foster, emergency custody motion. She looked up. Counsel, we're here on the respondent's emergency motion for temporary primary custody and supervised visitation. Mrs. Foster is represented by attorney Linda Carlson. Mr. Foster is represented by attorney Jennifer Cole. Is that correct? Yes, Your Honor, both attorneys said. Ms. Carlson, this is your motion. Proceed. Rebecca's attorney stood. Thank you, Your Honor. We're asking the court to grant my client primary physical custody of the minor children, Emma and Joshua Foster, with supervised visitation for Mr. Foster until he completes court-ordered anger management counseling. She outlined the evidence. The review, the pizza delivery, the public nature of my retaliation. She read selected comments from the viral post, emphasizing the ones that mentioned our address, our neighborhood, our children's school. Mr. Foster's actions demonstrate a pattern of impulsive, vindictive behavior that prioritizes revenge over his children's well-being, she said. He exposed his entire family to public scrutiny and potential harassment. He targeted another individual with coordinated harassment. This is not the behavior of a stable parent. Judge Brennan listened without expression. When Carlson finished, she turned to Jennifer. Ms. Cole? Jennifer stood. Your Honor, Mr. Foster acknowledges that he made a serious error in judgment. He was reeling from the discovery of his wife's infidelity, an affair Mrs. Foster conducted using joint marital funds, including ordering meals delivered to her paramour's residence on the family credit card. She presented our evidence. The pizza app history, the credit card statements, the timeline of Rebecca's deception. Mr. Foster's reaction, while regrettable, was a single incident born of acute emotional distress. He immediately recognized his mistake, deleted the review, and submitted a written statement of regret. He has no history of violence, no criminal record, and has been the primary homework helper and daily caretaker for these children for years, while Mrs. Foster pursued her extramarital relationship. Jennifer set down her notes. Mrs. Foster is asking this court to punish Mr. Foster for being human, for having an emotional reaction to betrayal. Meanwhile, she's the one who violated her marriage vows, who lied repeatedly, who used family resources to support an affair. The children need stability, Your Honor. That stability comes from their father. Judge Brennan made notes. I've reviewed the submitted evidence from both parties. I've read Mr. Foster's statement of regret and the police complaint filed by Mr. Brennan. She looked directly at me. "Mr. Foster, stand please." I stood. "Did you post a public review containing another individual's address and details of a private matter?" "Yes, Your Honor." "Did you order 20 pizzas to that address as retaliation?" "Yes, Your Honor." "Do you understand that your actions could have endangered your children by drawing public attention to your family?" My throat felt tight. "Yes, Your Honor. I do now." She nodded. "Sit down." I sat. "Here's my ruling." Judge Brennan leaned back in her chair, fingers steepled beneath her chin. The courtroom fell silent except for the hum of the ventilation system overhead. I could feel Rebecca's eyes on me from across the aisle, but I kept my gaze fixed on the bench. "Mr. Foster," the judge said, "I appreciate your candor regarding your actions. The court recognizes that discovering a spouse's infidelity is extraordinarily painful. However, this court's primary concern isn't your marriage. It's the welfare of Emma and Joshua." She picked up a document from her desk, scanning it briefly. "I've reviewed the temporary custody arrangement, the police report filed by Mr. Brennan, the viral social media post, and the statements from both parties. I've also noted that prior to this incident, there were no documented concerns about your parenting abilities." My attorney, Jennifer, sat perfectly still beside me. Across the aisle, Rebecca's lawyer, a thin man named Gregory Palmer, had his pen poised over his legal pad. "The court finds that while Mr. Foster's actions were inappropriate and showed poor judgment, they were directed at the third party and Mrs. Foster, not at the children. There's no evidence of abuse, neglect, or any behavior that would endanger Emma or Joshua in his care." Rebecca shifted in her seat. I heard the rustle of fabric. "However," Judge Brennan continued, and my stomach tightened, "the court is concerned about the public nature of this situation and its impact on the children. Emma has already experienced distress at school due to her classmates' awareness of the family's situation." She set down the paper and looked directly at me. "Mr. Foster, you will remove any and all social media accounts for the next 6 months. No Facebook, no Twitter, no Instagram, nothing. If you need to communicate with your children's teachers or coaches, you'll do so via email or phone calls. Is that clear?" "Yes, Your Honor." "You will also attend 6 sessions with a family therapist, not anger management, but therapy focused on co-parenting in high-conflict situations." "Mrs. Foster, the same applies to you." Rebecca's lawyer started to object, but the judge raised her hand. "Mrs. Foster, you may not have posted anything online, but your choices created this situation. Both of you need to learn how to put your children first, regardless of your feelings toward each other." She turned her attention to the custody schedule. "The current alternating arrangement will continue for the next 3 months. After that period, we'll transition to a more standard schedule. 1 week with each parent, alternating. Exchanges will occur at school to minimize direct contact between parents. Major holidays will be split according to the standard North Carolina parenting schedule." I felt something loosen in my chest. Not primary custody for Rebecca. Not supervised visitation for me. Both parents will have equal access to school records, medical information, and extracurricular activities. All communication regarding the children will be conducted through the Our Family Wizard app, which provides a record of all exchanges. No phone calls, no text messages, no in-person conversations unless it's a genuine emergency. Judge Brennan's expression softened slightly. "Emma and Joshua didn't ask for any of this. They didn't choose to have their family torn apart, and they certainly didn't choose to have it become public entertainment. Both of you need to remember that every decision you make from this point forward should be about what's best for them, not about punishing each other. She signed something on her desk. This court will review the custody arrangement again in 6 months. If either party has concerns before then, you may file a motion, but I strongly encourage you to work through the co-parenting therapist first. Understood? Yes, Your Honor, we both said, nearly in unison. One more thing. The judge's voice took on a harder edge. Mr. Foster, if there are any more pizza deliveries, social media posts, or any other acts of harassment or retaliation, I will revisit this custody arrangement immediately. And next time, the outcome won't be as favorable. Am I making myself clear? Crystal clear, Your Honor. Good. Court is adjourned. The gavel came down with a sharp crack. Jennifer walked me to her car in the parking garage. The afternoon sun slanted through the concrete levels, creating bars of light and shadow. You got lucky, she said, unlocking the doors. Judge Brennan could have gone the other way. I know. The social media ban is actually smart. Keeps you from doing anything else stupid, and it shows the judge you're willing to follow orders. She tossed her briefcase into the back seat. Delete everything tonight. Instagram, Facebook, all of it. She'll check. What about the divorce itself? That moves forward on a separate track. North Carolina requires a year of separation before you can file for absolute divorce. You're about a week into that now. She leaned against the car. We'll work on the separation agreement, division of assets, debt, all the financial stuff. With the documentation you have of her spending marital funds on the affair, we're in a good position. A car drove past us, tires squealing slightly on the turn. The house? I asked. Most likely it'll be sold and proceeds divided, or one of you buys out the other. Given that you want to maintain stability for Emma and Josh, you might argue for staying in the house until they're older, with you buying out her share over time. And her pension. She's been teaching for 12 years. Marital asset. You're entitled to half of what she accrued during the marriage. Jennifer checked her watch. Look, we've got time to work through all this. Right now, focus on the kids and staying off social media. Pick them up from school, help with homework, be the stable parent. That's your best strategy. She opened her car door, then paused. One more thing. Tyler Brennan's harassment complaint is still technically active. The police aren't likely to pursue charges. It was pizza, not a credible threat. But he could file a civil suit for harassment or intentional infliction of emotional distress. You think he will? Depends on whether he's still with Rebecca. If they broke up over this, he might want revenge of his own. If they're still together, he'll probably let it go. She slid into the driver's seat. Either way, no contact with him. None. If you see him at the grocery store, you turn around and leave. Understood? Understood. I watched her drive away, then walked to my own car 3 levels down. My phone buzzed. A text from Emma. Did you talk to the judge? I started to reply, then remembered. Our family wizard only. I'd need to wait until I got home and logged into the app on my computer. The drive back to the house took 30 minutes through midday traffic. The neighborhood looked the same as always. Neat lawns, basketball hoops and driveways, someone's sprinkler making rainbows in the afternoon light. Normal. Like the past week hadn't happened. Inside, the house felt too quiet. Rebecca had taken some of her clothes when she'd moved to her mother's place, leaving gaps in the closet. The bathroom counter had empty spaces where her makeup used to sit. I opened my laptop at the kitchen table and logged into Our Family Wizard. The interface was clean, professional. A calendar showed the custody schedule, a messaging system, document sharing for school forms and medical records. I typed a message to Emma through Rebecca's account, since Emma didn't have her own login yet. Talk to the judge. Everything's okay. Same schedule as we've been doing. See you tomorrow after school. Love you. Then I opened Facebook on my phone. 17 years of photos, posts, memories. Pictures of Emma as a baby. Josh's first day of kindergarten. Our anniversary trip to the mountains 5 years ago. Rebecca smiling at the camera with Grandfather Mountain behind her. I scrolled back through the years, watching our life play out in reverse. Birthdays, Christmases. The kids losing teeth, learning to ride bikes, growing up in frozen moments. My finger hovered over the delete button. All of it would be gone. Not just the recent posts, the viral review, the evidence of my anger, but everything. The good years before it all fell apart. But that was the point, wasn't it? Those good years were already gone. This was just admitting it. I pressed delete. The app asked me to confirm. Are you sure you want to permanently delete your account? I was. Twitter went next, then Instagram. I'd never been big on social media anyway, but watching each account disappear felt like erasing pieces of myself. Digital amputation. When I finished, I set my phone on the table and stared at it. No notifications. No friend requests. No tags and photos. Just a device for calls, texts, and the co-parenting app. The kitchen clock read 2:47 p.m. Josh got out of school at 3:15. I had time to make it there, wait in the pickup line with the other parents. Some of them had probably seen the review, probably knew everything. I grabbed my keys anyway. 6 months later. The mediator's office smelled like stale coffee and the fake lavender from a plug-in air freshener. I sat across from Rebecca at a conference table scarred with cup rings, our attorneys flanking us like seconds at a duel. Between us sat Margaret Hayes, the court-appointed mediator, a woman in her 60s with kind eyes at the patience of someone who'd seen every flavor of human misery. We're here to finalize the separation agreement, Margaret said, opening her folder. You've both reviewed the proposed terms? I nodded. Rebecca said, yes. 6 months. It felt like 6 years. The house would be sold. We'd split the proceeds 50-50 after paying off the mortgage. Rebecca's pension would be divided according to the formula Jennifer had calculated. I'd get 42% of what she'd accrued during our marriage. The cars, the furniture, the kitchen table where we'd eaten 1,000 dinners as a family. All of it itemized, appraised, divided with mathematical precision. The custody arrangement has been working well according to the therapist's reports, Margaret continued. Week on, week off, exchanges at school. Any concerns from either party? No, we both said. Emma had stopped crying herself to sleep around month 3. Josh had started seeing the school counselor, which helped. They'd both adjusted to the rhythm of 2 houses, 2 bedrooms, 2 sets of rules. Kids were resilient. Everyone said so. I hoped it was true. Mr. Foster, you've completed the required therapy sessions? All 6 plus 3 additional on my own. And Mrs. Foster? Same, Rebecca said quietly. I'd learned things in those sessions. How to recognize when anger was really fear. How to communicate without attacking. How to separate my feelings about Rebecca from my responsibilities as a father. Dr. Patel had been good at her job, patient with my resistance, firm when I needed it. The only remaining item is the alienation of affection claim against Mr. Brennan, Margaret said, looking at me over her reading glasses. I'd filed it 2 weeks after the custody hearing. Tyler Brennan had cost me my marriage, and North Carolina law said I could sue him for it. Jennifer had been enthusiastic. We have everything we need, and he's got assets. But as the months passed, my enthusiasm had waned. I'm dropping it, I said. Jennifer's head snapped toward me. Daniel, we discussed this. I know what we discussed. I kept my eyes on the mediator. I'm dropping it. I'll file the dismissal tomorrow. Rebecca's attorney tried to hide a smile. Rebecca herself looked stunned. May I ask why? Margaret said gently. I thought about the therapy sessions, about Dr. Patel asking me what I really wanted, about Emma telling me last week that her friend Sophia's dad was still fighting with her mom in court 3 years after their divorce, and how tired Sophia always seemed. Because I'm done being angry, I said. Tyler didn't destroy my marriage. My marriage was already broken. We just didn't want to admit it. Rebecca's eyes filled with tears. She looked away. Pursuing the lawsuit means more court dates, more lawyers, more of my energy going toward revenge instead of my kids. And for what? Money? The satisfaction of making Tyler pay? I shook my head. It's not worth it. Jennifer started to argue, but I raised my hand. I appreciate everything you've done for me, but this part is over. Margaret made a note in her file. Very well. If both parties agree to the terms as outlined, we can sign today and file with the court. We signed. Rebecca's hand shook as she wrote her name. Mine was steady. Afterward, in the parking lot, Rebecca caught up with me before I reached my car. Daniel, wait. I turned. She looked smaller somehow, or maybe I just stopped seeing her as larger than life. She was just a person. Flawed, complicated, human. Thank you, she said, for dropping the lawsuit against Tyler. It wasn't for him. It was for me. I clicked my key fob. And for Emma and Josh. They don't need their father spending the next year in court. I know I can't fix what I did. I know sorry doesn't cover it. She wrapped her arms around herself despite the warm October afternoon. But I am. Sorry. For all of it. I believed her. That was the strange part. I could see the regret in her eyes, the weight of her choices. It didn't change anything. We were still getting divorced, still dividing our life into neat legal categories. But it mattered that she meant it. Tyler and I broke up, she said. 2 months ago. Turns out a relationship built on lies doesn't have much foundation. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you? Yeah, I am, because it means you blew up our family for something that didn't even last. I opened my car door. But that's not my problem anymore. The kids asked if we could do Thanksgiving together, both houses. They want to go back and forth, have 2 dinners. She smiled sadly. Emma's idea. She's trying to fix things. She's 12. Fixing things isn't her job. I know, but maybe we could try? For them? I thought about it. Emma and Josh, shuttling between 2 tables, 2 turkeys, trying to hold together a family that didn't exist anymore. Or the alternative, me and the kids at my new apartment, Rebecca alone at her mother's house, everyone pretending to be fine. Let me think about it, I said. I drove to the school, arriving early for pickup. The line of cars stretched around the block, parents checking phones, drinking coffee, waiting. Some of them still looked at me strangely. Others had moved on to newer gossip. The pizza incident had been replaced by other scandals, other dramas. Life moved on. Josh came out first, backpack bouncing as he ran to the car. He climbed in, already talking about the science project on volcanoes, how his group was going to make the biggest eruption the school had ever seen. Emma appeared a few minutes later, walking slowly with her friend Madison. They hugged goodbye at the curb, and Emma slid into the passenger seat. "How was school?" I asked. "Fine." She buckled her seatbelt. "Did you sign the papers?" "I did." "So it's really happening, the divorce?" "Yeah, sweetheart, it's really happening." She was quiet for a moment. "Are you okay?" 12 years old and asking if I was okay. I reached over and squeezed her hand. "I'm getting there. How about you?" "Same, I guess." She looked out the window as we pulled away from the school. "Mom texted me about Thanksgiving." "What do you think about that?" "I think it would be weird. But also maybe good? I don't know." She turned to me. "Would it be too hard for you?" "Probably, but if it's what you and Josh want, we'll figure it out." "I just want things to be normal again." "I know, Em, but this is our normal now. 2 houses, 2 Thanksgivings if that's what we decide. It's different, but it can still be good." She nodded, not quite convinced but willing to try. That night, after homework and dinner and the bedtime routine, I sat on my small balcony and looked out at the city lights. The apartment was temporary, a 2-bedroom place in a decent complex while I figured out what came next. Emma had decorated her room with posters. Josh had claimed the closet as a secret base. They were making it work. I pulled out my phone and opened the co-parenting app. Typed a message to Rebecca. "Thanksgiving together is fine. We'll figure out the logistics for the kids." Her response came quickly. "Thank you for everything, for being the bigger person." I almost wrote back that I wasn't being the bigger person, I was just being tired. Tired of fighting, tired of anger, tired of carrying around the weight of betrayal like a stone in my chest. But instead, I wrote, "We're both trying. That's enough." Because it was. We'd both made mistakes. Hers more catastrophic than mine, maybe, but mine more public. We'd both hurt our kids. We'd both have to live with that. But we could also both choose to do better going forward. The pizza incident would always be part of our story. Emma and Josh would tell it someday, maybe to their own kids. Yeah, our parents' divorce was pretty dramatic. Dad went a little crazy with the pizza orders. They'd laugh about it, or cringe, or just shake their heads at the messiness of adult relationships. But hopefully they'd also remember the part that came after. The part where their parents learned to co-parent with respect. The part where anger gave way to acceptance. The part where we showed them that people can make terrible mistakes and still choose to be better. I'd learned something in those therapy sessions, something Dr. Patel had said during our 4th meeting. Revenge is just pain looking for company. Healing is pain finding purpose. The pizza had been pain looking for company. 20 boxes of it, delivered to Tyler's door, shared across the internet for everyone to see. It hadn't made me feel better. It had just spread the pain around. But this, sitting on my balcony, texting civilly with my ex-wife about Thanksgiving, knowing my kids were asleep in their rooms feeling safe, this was pain finding purpose. The divorce would be final in 6 months after the required year of separation. Rebecca would move on. I would move on. Emma and Josh would grow up, graduate, leave home. The house would sell. The furniture would be divided. The life we'd built together would become 2 separate lives, connected only by the children we'd made and the memories we couldn't erase. And maybe that was okay. Maybe the lesson wasn't about revenge or justice or who was right and who was wrong. Maybe it was simpler than that. Sometimes love ends, and when it does, you have a choice. You can burn everything down in your anger, or you can salvage what matters and build something new from the ashes. I'd tried the first option. The viral review, the pizza delivery, the public humiliation. It had all felt justified in the moment, righteous even. But it had nearly cost me my kids and definitely cost me my dignity. The second option was harder. It required swallowing my pride, accepting that Rebecca would never face the consequences I thought she deserved, admitting that my own actions had been just as destructive in their own way. But it also meant Emma and Josh got to keep both their parents. It meant Thanksgiving dinner, however awkward. It meant soccer games where Rebecca and I could sit on opposite bleachers without security having to intervene. It meant showing my kids that adults can disagree, can hurt each other, can even hate each other for a while, and still choose kindness in the end. My phone buzzed. A text from Patrick. Beer tomorrow night? Want to hear how mediation went? Sure, 7 p.m.? Perfect. Proud of you, man. I smiled at that. Proud of me for what? For not burning down my ex-wife's new apartment? For dropping a lawsuit I had every right to pursue? For acting like a functional adult instead of a vindictive child? But maybe that was enough. Maybe that was growth. The city lights blurred slightly. I realized I was crying, just a little. Not from sadness, exactly. More like relief. The kind of tears that come when you finally put down something heavy you've been carrying too long. Tomorrow I'd pick up the kids from school. We'd do homework and make dinner and argue about screen time. Friday they'd go to Rebecca's. Next week they'd come back to me. The rhythm would continue, week after week, month after month, until it felt normal instead of broken. And somewhere in there, I'd figure out who I was now. Not Rebecca's husband. Not the guy from the viral pizza incident. Just Daniel. Father, project manager, work in progress. I finished my beer and went inside. Emma's light was still on. I knocked softly. Come in. She was reading, propped up on pillows. Can't sleep? Thinking about stuff. I sat on the edge of her bed. Want to talk about it? Not really. She closed her book. Dad? Are you going to be okay? Like, eventually? Yeah, Em, I think I am. I brushed hair from her forehead. Are you? I think so too. She smiled a little. It's weird, but it's getting less weird. That's all we can ask for, less weird every day. After she turned off her light, I checked on Josh, sound asleep, sprawled across his bed like a starfish, and then went to my own room. The apartment was quiet. Outside, traffic hummed. Someone's television played through the wall. It wasn't the life I'd planned. Wasn't the future I'd imagined during those early years with Rebecca, when everything felt possible and permanent. But it was my life now, and I was finally, slowly, learning to live it. The moral, if there was one, wasn't complicated. Revenge feels good for about 5 minutes, and then you have to live with the consequences. Pain is inevitable when love ends, but cruelty is optional. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do isn't fighting back, it's letting go. I'd ordered 20 pizzas to prove a point. All I'd proven was that hurt people, and that cycle only ends when someone chooses to stop. I was choosing to stop. Tomorrow would be day 183 of my separation. In another 182 days, the divorce would be final. And then the real work would begin. Building a life that wasn't defined by what I'd lost, but by what I still had. 2 kids who needed me. A job I was good at. Friends who'd stuck around. The chance to be better than my worst moment. It wasn't everything, but it was enough. I turned off the light and closed my eyes, and for the first time in 6 months, I fell asleep without anger burning in my chest.